Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 225 of the Kiss Army Nation podcast. I'm on your host, Pasquale Veri.
And I am Claudio Spera. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Tonight, we're dialing up the amps to 11 as we discuss the making of Rollover and Rock with a couple of hooligans. You know the drill. Don't touch the dial unless you turn it up. Kiss Army Nation, please welcome Al Ryan and Vincent Larussa.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome to have you. So awesome to have you.
Before we start, Vincent, I don't watch podcasts. I listen to them. So when you guys, message me to come on the show, I go, Vincent Larussa, I know that name. It's like, you're the same guy from the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn.
Yes.
Yeah,
That is me.
That's awesome, man.
That's me.
And I love the chemistry the two of you have on the show.
You.
And
Thank you.
Actually, before we start, I want to actually ask that question to Al. So, Vincent has that chemistry with Mike. What's it like working with Vincent?
Vince and I don't have any chemistry at all, so I can't really answer that question. Kidding, of course. It's awesome. I cannot say enough good things about Vincent. This could turn into the Vincent Larussa Love Fest if you let me do that. But he is just
Go on.
It's been awesome. It's been nothing. He's been great. He's really helped me along so much. I can't say enough good things about Vincent.
Nice. And Vincent, how about you with working with Al?
Al was an interesting guy to work with. I've worked with a lot of different artists, and part of the thrill I got out of working with Al was getting him to achieve things he thought he couldn't achieve. And that, as a producer and songwriter, even though I didn't write these songs, but in general, when I work with artists, it's making somebody feel comfortable, and I think I did that for Al, and I think that's why we got along so well. I mean, this was originally just a couple of songs, and it went obviously into much more than that, and we're great friends now. So that's what Kiss music does, for us fans. It's just a wonderful experience. So it was great working with Al.
How long have you been working together?
What has it been, 4 years?
Yeah, I think we started in the summer of 2001 during COVID, when a lot of people were finding projects and things to do.
Yeah.
I was working from home, which was glorious. I got to spend more time in the studio, and that's when Al and I started working together.
This is great. The interesting thing when we're doing podcasts, sometimes you have a connection that you cannot explain, even through the screen. And I don't know if it's the same with you, Pas, but we just spent 5 minutes with Al and Vincent, and chemistry's there, already. So this is great. So that explains a lot. Then we're gonna get into the nitty gritty with the album. That explains why this album is so great. So, but
Thank you.
before we go there, before we talk about Rollover and Rock, okay, there you go, I got it right. Let's kick it off with a quick origin story. So, Al, what was your first exposure to Kiss?
I was actually at my cousin's house, and he had bought Kiss Alive, and I believe it was probably somewhere in 1976, I guess it was. And I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was very much into comic books, superheroes, so that clicked in. Just getting into music at that point, it was just an awakening. And then from that point on, it was just all Kiss all the time.
No return. Was it the visuals or the music or both?
Initially it was the visual that caught me, just the album cover, and then when we put the record on, the music was great. I mean, it still is to this day. I mean, all of that stuff still holds up.
Mm-hmm. Vincent, what about you?
Very similar to Al. Went to my cousin's house, and like Italians do, their family always is in the basement. That's where they eat and do everything. They could have a full house with full dining room with this, but everybody's in the basement, right? So in the basement, fully finished basement, I saw my younger cousin with the Kiss Alive album open and number 2 pencils, listening to it, and just he's a drummer, and he was just playing on it. I'm like, what is this? So of course I went over and took a look, and when you open that that album, and how could you not be fascinated by what you see as a I'll date myself. I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, and I just had to know what this was. I had never seen this before, and the music was so exciting. Music's been in my DNA since, I think I came out of my mom's womb, so I was at a very young age. My dad was having me listen to, Jimi Hendrix, the Cream, the Who, Led Zeppelin. He taught me a lot about that stuff. So I was already really heavily into music even at that young age. So that's my first memory of hearing Kiss and seeing Kiss.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, the four of us here and most of our listeners, I think that we've been with Kiss for 50 years now, diehard, lifelong fans. But there's always a defining moment that seals your passion for the band. So I'll start with you. What was that moment for you?
I think, again, shortly after I had picked up, or actually after my cousin had introduced me to Alive, I went out and bought Destroyer. And that, to me, sealed the deal. Okay. It was just incredible. And again, from that, I didn't get to see them until 1979, unfortunately. But once I bought Destroyer, and then I bought Alive, and then I just got so into it with the music, with, like Vince said, you open up the album covers. That was back when they had all the love gun in the packaging. It was just awesome. So I was hooked right away. I mean, from the moment I purchased the Destroyer, put it on the turntable, I was hooked.
Wow. Vincent, defining moment?
So actually, I'm going to credit my friend Mike Brunn on this one. After I discovered this, him and I were going to school, and we were probably in first grade. And I had told him about this, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I know that band." And we used to go walk to school. We were literally a half a block. We lived from each other, so we'd walk to school together. So I remember going back to his house, and he had, already had, I don't remember what record it might have been at that point, Rock and Roll Over, not Roll Over and Rock. And and that was like the defining moment where I feel like, even though I discovered it at my cousin's, but having Mike as my friend, then everything became about Kiss. All it did was talk about, the band, and he had the records. I hadn't had the records yet. So I got to say, that was probably it. That was a great question. I never thought about that before.
Yeah, indeed. And I think, this reinforces one more, what we always say with Pask, it's a kind of a family, and Kiss and friendship go together. I don't think that Kiss will be so big, with us, if we didn't have, true friends through the band. That makes it even a lifelong, lifetime experience.
True.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, guys, let's talk about the album. It's called Roll Over and Rock. So, was that the original concept behind this tribute album, or were you working through several concepts? Al, we'll start with you.
There was never a concept necessarily. How it really started, a mutual friend of ours, Matt Milbauer, and again, Vin had already stated, it was during COVID. So I was reaching out to various people that I hadn't spoke to in a while. I was in a band with Matt in the 80s, and just to touch base. And, we had written some songs. We were an original band together. And I said, why don't we go in maybe and re-record them? And he was like, yeah, that sounds great. But maybe in the interim beforehand, we'll do a couple of Kiss songs, like kind of warm up. I was like, because he's a big Kiss fan also. So that's how it all started. And the goal was to do 2 or 3 Kiss songs. I believe the total count was, when we're all said and done, with 26. So we started doing it. We really just, we never envisioned it to be an album at the beginning. It was just, again, just a little warm-up thing. And away we went. And it was just great. It was awesome from that point.
And on top of what Al's saying, if I could interject, Matt told him about me. He didn't have any idea who I was. I don't think you did. And he said, he has a studio. So Al came down with, I think, 2 or 3 songs that he had in mind. And so once we did those songs, we were having so much fun. He's like, he would come to me and say, what do you think about Hard Luck Woman? And I was like, that'd be a good one to do. And like every time we got together, it was like, what do you think about this? Well, what do you think became 26 songs?
Right.
So for what you're saying, was there a concept? No, not really. But I think we knew we had something special together. The chemistry, which became a friendship, And just the way the recordings were sounding, I said, I'm not going to put anything I do, my stamp on it, and put it out there if I don't think it's good. And I felt really proud of what we were doing. And I know Kiss fans, and also I know a lot of tribute albums or whatever you want to call them that I've heard myself. And quite honestly, I said, this is good, or maybe even better. Not to sound cocky or anything like that or conceited, but I know Kiss fans are going to be listening like with a very discerning ear to say, so that's kind of how it all came together.
It was great. I mean, you had asked before about chemistry, with Vincent and I. I had not been really singing at that point, just a little bit, I had sang in bands for years before that, but I was away for it for quite a while. So going into it, I was very anxious, very hesitant, definitely nervous. And before I met Vincent, he had already recorded at least an album at that point, and I went and listened to it, and I was like, wow, this guy's really, really good. So that only added to my anxiety. But as soon as we started, he really got me to calm down. He'd keep, because I would get really stressed out and worry about missing this or not doing that, and not trying things. And he pushed me to try things that I could never think that I could do. And incredibly, I was able to do. So I owe him an incredible debt of gratitude for making this happen and making me very comfortable during the process.
If you ask a lot of Kiss fans, Rock and Roll Over is one of their favorite albums.
It's my favorite album.
Yeah, fans feel that, this is definitive Kiss. The songs on this album is definitive Kiss. So looking at the your album cover, it kind of brings back memories of Rock and Roll Over. And it's like, okay, this is going to be definitive Kiss. And if you go through the soundtrack, pretty much. So what was the criteria used to pick the songs for the final track list? Vincent?
That's a great question, because I don't know if we've really talked about it much. We do have a second release already recorded. So,
nice.
Yeah, so we have another 13 songs already done, not fully mixed, but as close to as fully mixed. It's just more of a mastering thing. So when we had those 26 songs, and like I said, it was like, even like when I did the Dr. Love was the first song I did, it was kind of a fluke. It was like, I'm just going to try and do something myself. I never tried this, other than every cover band singing Rock and Roll All Night. Right. I never really tried to do the Gene thing. Well, that was like a beautiful accident, because by doing that, I wound up getting in a Kiss, cover band that I play, and also Kiss Unmasked. And I'm the Gene of that band. So, and I kind of passed the audition based on that song I recorded. So we just started talking about songs that we liked. And I was starting to pick some Gene songs, to kind of even it out, because he was doing the Paul stuff, even though like I do Save Your Love, and, there's some crossover. He does Hard Luck Woman, which is Peter Criss, but it really, I think the question would be better answered if you saw what the other songs were, to understand why we kind of split it in half. Like, not to give it away, but like we've recorded Love Gun. It's not on this, right. There's some other things we've done. Rip It Out. It's not on this, right? We didn't put Rip It Out on, right?
No, it's not on this one.
And so we do have some A stuff. We have, some other Peter stuff on there too. So it just was really trying to balance it out, And Strutter, of course, first song you heard on the first Kiss album, that was just a natural choice to start off the record.
Opening. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Al, was there any songs that almost made the cut, or you wish it made the cut,
well,
didn't make the cut, you were fighting for it?
Vincent knows what I'm going to say here.
Yes.
Of all the songs that we did, and I guess there were 26 that are done, 27, which was actually number 2 or 3, was Got to Choose. And I had a hell of a time with that one, and I'm still having a hell of a time with it. I'm going to try like hell to get it done. It's my mission in life to finish that song. So that was difficult. And again, like I said before, I mean, a lot of it was difficult, but just by, keeping at it, practicing Vincent's recommendations, his tips, his advice, his guidance, everything, it got me to places I didn't think I could go. you know, and again, I hadn't been singing in a while. And even when I was singing, I didn't think I could do the things that I ended up doing.
And truth be told, I mean, if we recorded 27 songs and 26 made the cut, that's a pretty good ratio. I'll take that anytime.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
And you know, Al's singing Paul Stanley. Let's not forget who that singer is.
Mhm.
You know, he's one of the most underrated singers and frontmans, I think, that's ever, you know, on the stage. I mean, not to talk about this, but if you listen to the new Dress to Kill box set and you just listen, because we're so used to hearing those live shows from Alive and his banter and how he commanded an audience. I mean, who else was really like that at that time? You know, it's just, so my point being is, you know, Al had to do a Paul Stanley. I could do the Gene. Oh yeah, I could do, you know, I could put on the voice, you know, but Paul Stanley, it's, you know, it's tough, man. And yeah, and you know, he was also struggling with some throat issues that he was powering through. So the fact that Al got through a lot of stuff, man, I witnessed it all. So I give him a ton of credit. He did a tremendous job.
Thank you, man. Likewise.
Well, speaking of Dress to Kill, I was just listening to one of the live shows on Dress to Kill, and Paul was doing Got to Choose. He was butchering it. His voice, it was like he couldn't keep up. It's not an easy song to do live.
It's not, but when I heard it, I was always like, oh, that's easy. And then I tried doing it, and not so much.
Till the minute you have to start singing.
You
have to start singing.
Right. It's great when you're in the shower, in the car, but when it comes out, you know, when it counts,
it sounds good in your head, right? It sounds good.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
you know, it's well, this is great, guys. So we might kind of divert from the script or the questions, because, you know, there's so much stuff that you guys are saying that it's so interesting. But, you know, when we were preparing the stuff with Past, you know, we both feel that there are two types of, you know, tribute albums. You know, tributes that attempt to do something different, and others who stay true to the original content. So in your case, was it hard creating a tribute that was really true to the Kiss sound? Al, start with you.
I mean, I think really that's a better question for Vin, because he did, you know, I mean, not only did he, you know, do incredible vocals, he did pretty much many of the instruments on the album. He produced the album. So getting the feel and the sound down and, you know, getting it down sonically, that's him, you know, and it came out, as far as I'm concerned, incredibly well. I mean, it sounds so good. Sometimes you're like, wow, that's not Kiss. Like, he really nailed that, the production, the sound of it. So
let's go, Vin. On to you.
So you want to know the process of how I did it? Would you be interested to know how I actually put it all together?
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
So when we decided on the song, the first thing we did was listen to it. Then I saw what the tempo was. I have a program that could tell me the tempo of the song. And so one of the first things I would do, I played drums on all the songs. I played bass on all but I think one song. And I did all the rhythm guitar parts. So what I would do is, being a producer engineer for 30 plus years, I listened to the tones. And it's like I've heard the song so many times. It was not like I had to study something new. I know, you know, what instruments, whether it was a Les Paul or maybe a Stratocaster was used on a particular track or whatever. I know the history of a lot of these instruments, or the bass guitar. If I wanted something to sound like Gene Simmons's bass, I tried to find, because I luckily have a lot of instruments, so I would pick and choose those type of instruments to try to really sonically match. Another great example is like something like Dr. Love. You know, Peter Criss, I say this all the time, is hugely underrated as a drummer. You know, his swing, his swagger, a great song, Dr. Love did, like those little ghost notes. I tried to replicate that. And people who have listened to it said, wow, he got the ghost notes. And that's what I know those Kiss fans are going to do. So it was like really like studying the songs and really trying to sonically get them to sound like, I want this to be the rock and roll overtone on the rhythm guitar, or the Love Gun, or even when I did Tears Are Falling, you know, that big 80s sound I was trying. I mean, listen, I don't have a multi-billion-dollar studio that they recorded these things in back in the day. But with technology and certain things and understanding things, you try to get it as close to replicating those things. But that was the most fun, was just really listening to the original songs and trying to sonically match as closely as possible. Even delays or something like that, where, another, example is that in Save Your Love, when Ace goes, baby, it's over. Blah, blah. There's like a delay. I wanted to have that delay to be what is on the record, because I know Kiss fans are gonna be like, there it is, or they're gonna be waiting for it. Is he gonna have the delay?
That's right. So, that's right, exactly.
So it was like things like that I really tried to pay attention. So if that answers your question about.
And let me tell you. So as I said before, it's been on rotation, with me for some days now, and I have to say, mission accomplished. That's fantastic, man. So, and as you said before, Kiss fans, kind of nerdy. We go to the details. We go everywhere and say, okay, here it comes. Let me see how it goes, and it's perfect, man. And I'm telling you that we're gonna get into this later on, but. It's let me just say it now, because then I will forget. It sounds so fresh, at the same, it has the Kiss sound, but also today's sound. I don't know if you agree with me, but this is incredible, man. And this is so, the same thing happened to me when I listened to I remember Unplugged. Okay, it sounds fresh. That's the best word to describe. It sounds so fresh. It sounds so fresh.
If I could interject for a second,
of course.
I'm not that kind of Kiss fan that has a musical ear. I don't wait for that sound to come or that part to come. I have good recall memory, but not So I listen to a song. It's like it sounds like a Kiss song. It's not like, oh, wait a minute, this is missing or that's missing. I enjoy it as a Kiss song. And that's what this album was for me. There was nothing missing in the music. I go, wait a minute, this doesn't sound right, or this is missing from the song, or this little detail. It was all there. It was all there. That's what's so cool about it.
It's the full package, man. It's incredible.
And just one other thing I just want to mention, because you said something. What we didn't want to do was reinvent the songs to do that, because it's like the way I equate is like if I go see a Kiss cover band, a tribute band, I don't want to hear their versions of the Kiss songs. I want to hear it as it was originally performed. So the same thing is when you're listening to your record. I mean, I think on Kiss My Ass, the Toad the Wet Sprocket Rock and Roll All Night is pretty cool, to be honest. Or Deuce that Lenny Kravitz did with the harmonica and Stevie Wonder. That's cool. Cool. So you can do that, but for this kind of thing, we really wanted it to be true to the original.
Yeah, and you were, and you really were. So it's that's amazing. Al, I have a quick question for you. So, is there a Kiss song or songs, or a solo maybe that pushed you, musically, to just get it right?
Again, I'll go back to Got to Choose on the ones that we did on the first record here. I don't recall anything. Again, so I really enjoyed, like, right out of the gate. I mean, doing Strutter was the first song we did. That was awesome. And Mr. Speed.
Mr. Speed. I was going to say that, man. I was flying.
Great choice by his.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that stood out for me. A couple of ones I had, since being a kid, I always said, man, if I could ever do these songs, it would be so cool. Like, and again, Mr. Speed, I know we have Making Love on the next release.
Yeah. Firehouse, man. I mean, Firehouse. Oh, my God.
I mean, it came out so much better than I could have ever imagined. And again, much to Vin, but there were a lot of special parts, and looking back, those were some of the good. It was all good, but those really stood out for me.
Like I was saying earlier, I don't have much of a musical ear, but I found like the production in this album was just so good. Were there any unique recording techniques or sound choices made to try to capture that spirit, Vinny, that you were talking about?
Absolutely. Again, drums, it all starts with the drums on these songs. If I knew that Peter Criss's snare rung out on a certain song like Dr. Love, I made sure the snare sounded open. If there was a song where it sounded tighter, I made sure those things, or the tuning of the drums, were a certain thing. Or if I listened to, the rhythm track on, Ace Frehley's guitar on something, or even Paul Stanley, again, underrated guitar player. I mean, his rhythm playing is great, and even some of the solos he did, he does the first half of "I Stole Your Love." A lot of people don't realize that was Paul who did that on the record, or on the what is it, in "Sure Know Something." He does the guitar solo, I believe.
Yeah.
So and on the not the Oath, the Elder, he does what's the
War Without Heroes.
Yeah,
that's right.
Great melodic ear, So those type of things, even I'm looking at the songs here if there's anything that strikes me. All American Man. I mean, we would play that, and Al and I said, I wish I could get everyone in the studio and listen to it in this room right now.
It sounds so
when
great
I would
in
crank
the studio itself.
And what we would do is we would put on the original and then put on our version, and all of a sudden it was like, not to say anything against the original, because that's like sacrilege. But when ours, because of the sonics, it was like coming alive.
Yeah. It's
like
brighter.
it just like it had this, to your point, what you said, it sounded fresh and the energy. So that was a little bit expected, but unexpected. I didn't think it would be that much of the sonic that would just sound alive. But I really worked hard to really try to get that, to achieve that.
And following up on that, guys, like what Vin is saying, I really did. I can't believe forget about All American Man, but it was just with I don't know if it was at that point or maybe even a little earlier in the process. I really wanted to capture like the attitude, the Paul Stanley, like the attitude that he brings, the street kind of thing. And I think we were able to lock into that. Yeah. But you did ask, Claudio, and I'm not even sure if I answered the last question you asked me, talking about, things that stood out. But I also want to shout out to a guy who did a ton of the guitar solos and did them incredibly well. Mike Wren, a guy that Vin knows and now I know, and the guy was incredible throughout this process.
And All American Man is a great example of that. When you hear that, the vibrato, we know that's Bob Kulick, that's no secret, but to do the Bob Kulick and have it authentic, and all the Ace Frehley and have it authentic, and then him to do the Bruce Kulick, Tears Are Falling solo. It's just, a hugely talented guy, and he is one of the, if not the unsung hero of who did the majority of the other work besides Al and I. Did an incredible job, and it was so easy. I would, he'd know the song. He'd send me, and the only thing he made it hard for me, he'd give me 8 solos of the same solo. So now I had to choose which one was the best, Right. So, again, it helped, but it also made my job a little harder, because I was like, I don't know, maybe this one, that one. So, but we did put the time in.
That's interesting. One of the things that stood out for me, speaking of solos, I don't know if it was him, but the solo on Save Your Love. Oh my God. That's incredible. That's incredible.
It was him. And ironically, that's a Mike Brun thing. Mike Brun said, you know what song I think you should do? And I was like, what? He goes, Save Your Love. I said, really? He goes, yeah, I'm telling you. And I started putting it together. I'm like, I can't do this. It's just, I'm not the Ace thing, the voice. He's like, I don't even want to hear it. Get back in the studio and do it. I was like, okay. I was like, okay. And wound up being Mike Wren's, one of his favorite, if not his favorite guitar solo. And when I told him Save Your Love, he's like, really? And I was like, yeah. And he, knocked it out of the park.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Such an awesome and these solo. Are so, and there's easy choices to me to love as Kiss fans songs, Love Gun, Dr. Love. But again, what was brought to light more by Al was the Mr. Speeds of the world, or the Save Your Loves, which are kind of like the songs they're not B-level songs, in my opinion, but they're not songs that Kiss traditionally did live. So you didn't hear them over and over again, unless you played those records,
Yeah.
So I want to thank Al for, choosing like Mr. Speed and what was the other one that you chose?
All American Man's another kind of B-side, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So definitely.
Love Her All I Can, things like that, like
great
things that are not right, that the average person, this is for Kiss fans. Of course, we'd love for the average people to listen to it too.
But, no, but
I know how much the Kiss fans appreciate the deep cuts.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't done this, but I'm going to use your show to give you a preview of what's on the next one, just to might excite some people even more what's coming. But we got We got I Stole Your Love. We got Rip It Out. We got Come On and Love Me, Love Gun, Hotter Than Hell, Making Love Tomorrow and Tonight, Room
Nice.
Service, Wouldn't You Like to Know Me, Take Me, which is another one, Tomorrow, and War Machine. So
Wow,
talk about
nice.
yeah.
Nice.
So,
Yep.
I just got chills even just saying that. I'm so excited.
Oh my
Al, you want
God.
to put it out tomorrow?
That was cool. Let's do it. We'll put it out right now.
Oh
Come
my
on.
God.
Yeah.
You put tomorrow in. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah.
That came out
Yes.
so good.
Oh,
Vin did an
wow.
incredible job on that. He sings the lead on it. It is phenomenal.
Thank you. And that was
So-
the other thing too. We didn't just stick to. I mean, Al does War Machine. I mean, I'm the Gene, for the most part on the song, but he did War Machine, or I did Tomorrow. So we did mix it up as
Yeah.
vocalists, so which was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Kind of Paul and Gene with God of Thunder. That's right, right? So,
Yes, that's right. That's right.
so were there any surprises, guys, in the studio? So a moment where you kind of thought of a song and then it started evolving differently than you expected, that you were expecting? I'll start with you.
I was surprised when I first went there, and again, nervous as hell. And we heard back Strutter for the first time. I was surprised. I was like, oh shit, that sounds awesome. I mean, it just sounded so good. But I mean, surprises, I can't think of any. Again, it was just so exciting and so new. Every time we got together, every new song that came along, it was just awesome. I cannot tell you again how much fun I had doing this. This has been a lifelong dream of mine to do this. And to get the opportunity not only to do it, but to do it with somebody as musically talented as Vincent Larussa, and the way that it came out, I couldn't have asked for anything more than this. And now if people can listen to it,
You're gonna make me cry.
Really, I mean, and this was real. Again, like we said earlier, I don't know if it was recorded or not. Like if one person listens to this, that's cool. But now we want to get it out there because it is good. And again, not to sound conceited,
That's
like
good.
Vince said, I've listened to other stuff. I would sit up for hours late at night going through YouTube, poring over songs. And we did a really good, authentic, faithful job to the original great songs that they put out. So all we want now is just to get it out there and have Kiss fans listen to it.
Of course.
It doesn't cost anything. It's free. We're not,
Yeah.
don't want,
Yeah.
just go listen to it.
When you put so much passion and love and dedication and time to something that you really love, we have to spread it out, man. So and this is what you guys came out with. It's fantastic. Let me just say that
Thank you, Claude.
everybody should listen to this. So right now, Roll Over and Rock is only available on Spotify, if I'm not mistaken. So any
No.
plans for a
No,
CD?
it's on all the streaming platforms.
Now
It's on all the streaming
stream-
platforms. Okay,
Yes,
streaming
yeah,
platforms. You can go through them right now if you want. And then my second question: any plans for a CD or a vinyl?
A vinyl, please.
I know.
Vincent,
Yeah,
Vincent.
Yes, we definitely were going to do the CD. We talked about this early on, but Al, I haven't really spoken to you a lot about it recently. But people have kind of getting in my ear, like, how do you not have a vinyl?
Yeah, that would be
This,
pretty cool. To be honest with you, to have an
That's
actual
right.
album, that
Yeah.
would be great.
I think what we were thinking was let's test the waters and see what is wanted, because as you know, these things cost money, especially vinyl. So I don't want to have 100 paperweights, of vinyl records, like in my house. But if we felt that, people would want it, certainly we will do it, and especially if we're going to do another release and this kind of picks up some steam.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We're definitely, the CDs was definitely, we're going to do that. The album, I guess we're negotiating that,
Okay.
So right
Okay.
now, what we're really trying to do is figuring out ways of promoting this and seeing to get the maximum amount of interest. It's so hard, to do.
Yeah.
And that's why we're so grateful that you guys are having us on right now.
Of course.
Yeah, and I
And
promise you
especially
guys,
that you're
whatever it is,
passionate fans. Yeah. What's that?
yeah, and whatever it is, whether we do CD and an album, you guys are definitely getting, one of each. For
Hey,
sure.
listen, you come out with a vinyl or CD, I'm buying two. So that's
Of course. Of course.
one I
Not
keep
buying
wrapped,
any. We're
one I
giving
keep
it-
wrapped, and one I
That's
listen to.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so
Yeah.
broke.
So Vincent,
Yes.
promotion time. You want to go through all of the platforms where people can find the album?
Well, I mean, the big ones are, Amazon, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. Then you have stuff like, iHeart Radio. You have, even I come to find out, and I was, I have a dashboard where I could look at the numbers and stuff like that. I didn't even realize like it's on TikTok. Had no idea. So I have a company called TuneCore that does my music distribution. So they take care of all that. They distribute it to all the online retailers, let's just call them, and it's like 30 plus. And even in countries like India, whatever, they have their own streaming services. So, but it's on all the majors. There's not one platform that you can listen to music that it's not on at this point. So if that's the easiest way, I think Apple Music, iTunes, and Spotify are probably the most popular, and you can certainly hear it there.
Yeah,
So
we have it on I know YouTube. It's on YouTube, Amazon Music,
yeah,
TikTok, even I think now.
Yeah,
nice. So if we could indulge for a second to give our perspective on the album. But before we do that, why or how'd you come to choose the first and the last song? Because I thought the first song would have been Hooligan. So
great question.
Right? So what made you choose the first and the last song?
Yeah, like we had said earlier, I mean, Strutter was the first song that we did. It was the first song on the first Kiss album, the first song on Alive. It was kind of a no-brainer. It had to be Strutter. There was no choice. I mean, it was that simple. But especially because we did it first also. So, and that wasn't by design. It just worked out that way.
And the last song?
Yeah, so that was a tough one because you would think Detroit Rock City would be high up on a playlist, right? So that's a great question. A lot of it was flow and listening to songs going into each other. It's like that was an art form back in the day when you had side A and side B. And putting track lists together. And I just felt like Detroit Rock City is such an iconic song for Kiss that I wanted them to listen and hopefully listen through to get to the last song. So it was kind of like, you want to get to Detroit Rock City, you're going to have to go through, 12 other songs to get there. I didn't know if people were going to do it, but I also felt it's such a strong song, to end that first. I'm like, what do we end it with? And just looking at the list, I still feel like, it's just a great song to end the first record.
Nice. So, we talked about the difference between you have tribute albums that are true to the original and things that go off, to the right, to the left. For me, I prefer songs that really are different because I've listened to Kiss songs so many times that I want to hear something different, right? So, and guys, hear me out here. Hear me out. Rock and Roll All Night from Total Wet Sprocket. Love that song. And I've listened to tribute albums that stay true to the original. It's like, yeah, okay, that's cool. But I always go back to the strange stuff, the offbeat stuff. But it was different. It was different for this album because what we talked about before, and Vincent, you were saying it. It's like it was true to the original. You're not going to say that it was better than the original, but it really rocked out, and it was fresh and in your face, and it felt new. And I enjoyed listening to the songs that I've heard 1,000 times, but I felt like I listened to it for the first time, listening it on this album, which I thought was amazing. And the reason I asked for the set list of the first and last song, because I found Detroit Rock City at the end. When I saw the list, I go, really at the end? I thought it was a great choice because you're going through the album, and I'm really enjoying it. You get to Detroit Rock City, my favorite song, by the way, and I just get all pumped up. So I start the record all over again and listen to it again.
That's cool.
Because I'm so pumped up, And it was also cool that you guys had some 80s representation. Tears Are Falling. Fantastic choice. So, and another one, I'm going to be sacrilegious here. You talked about Save Your Love. I'm not a fan of Save Your Love. I'm really not. I loved it on this record. I liked it more on this record.
I'm glad you said that because it was never one of my favorite Kiss songs until I recorded it. So it's like kind of the same thing. It's like I discovered something that was kind of like a hidden gem what it wound up becoming, So we're in the kind of the same boat on that one.
Yeah, no, I loved that song on this album. So overall, album sounded great. It had punch. It felt fresh. It felt new. Positively love it. I'm not just saying it because you guys are in front of me. I honestly loved it.
Thank you,
Thank
Pat.
you.
That's awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Claudio.
Yeah. So, most of the times, we pretty much think alike, with Pask, but I have to say that there is a difference. In my case, when I listen to tribute albums, I always valued the artistic, endeavor and the artistic, let's say, dedication that some musicians put to recreate some of the songs. But when they come up with very, very different versions, I'm not so excited. Maybe I listen to it once and then, I put it as part of the collection, but I don't listen to it very, very often. I prefer to go back to, the basics, bands that try to recreate the true sound of the band. So that's why I was so hooked with your album. And when I said it was on rotation, I'm not kidding. So it was going, back and forth, from one song to the other. Starting off with Strutter, to me, that's a home run. To me, when I listen to that intro, the drum intro, that's pure Kiss. It's like it's as if I was listening to the debut album. That's incredible. And what I have to say also is that we talked about how fresh it sounds, the production, the mixing, the mixing and the mastering. Even though I was listening to it with earplugs, now I'm gonna if you guys release it on CD and even more on vinyl, when you listen to that with headphones, that's gonna be a killer. That's gonna be because you have all the frequencies there. That's gonna be freaking amazing. The track list, kudos to you guys. So the mixing and the sequence of the songs, it's so unique. When you go through some of the, for instance, you go with Tears Are Falling, and then all of a sudden you go to Love Her Like Can. You go back in time, and then you go All American Man, and you shut it off with the Detroit Rock City. To me, what transpires from this album is that this is made by really true Kiss fans. It's not a music band that tries to play Kiss songs. This is truly coming from your heart, and you can feel it, that you guys, the way you're singing, the little details. And I'm gonna close it off with this. I'm not a big fan of Calling Dr. Love. I got so tired of that song. When they play it live, I don't even understand why they play it so much. But your song, you're Calling Dr. Love, that's my new favorite. I'm not going to listen to the Kiss one anymore.
Ouch. Wow. Whoa. That one I wasn't expecting.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm gonna bottle this memory and forever. So thank you so much.
I'm telling you.
Wow.
Yeah. No, when I got to Calling Dr. Love, that was a test. I said, okay, let's see how this goes. And it was like, wow, this is freaking amazing, man. Gene's voice, the sound, the guitar, the drums. What you were saying about Peter, the drums, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Thank you. One of my proudest moments of doing this record is when I would play that, Dr. Love especially, and people go, wait, that's not the original? I go, no, it's not. But that's you. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to say that to sound conceited or anything like that. But again, the passion and what we have to really, truly, it's like when we were kids, right? We put the makeup on. I just recently did a post for Halloween. My 8-year-old self with Peter Criss makeup on. It's like, I mean, we have this in our DNA. It's in our blood. I don't think if I tried to do, and I don't know why Skid Row came to my brain, a Skid Row tribute record, if I would have near the amount of passion and confidence and whatnot, or what's here, as in Kiss, which is my number one all my life.
It shows.
So,
it shows.
Yeah.
It shows. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So did you guys have any feedback? What was the reaction from other members of the Kiss Army?
So far, I've been going around and trying to, we've been making a concerted effort to go out and contact podcasts. go on Facebook groups, go on Kiss websites, and honestly, we were talking to Vin and I before. The positive has been the feedback has been extremely positive. Nothing negative, because you always get nervous, with people out there, they can say.
I told them, I said, be
horrible
prepared.
Stuff.
People,
right. Whatever.
Harsh.
And I don't, I'm not gonna, it's all good. But honestly, we really haven't gotten any bad feedback.
Yeah,
but we still, again, want some more people to listen to it. But, but again, so far, so good.
So, Vincent, why do you think, what do you think that makes Kiss music so special, so timeless, that it continues to kind of inspire tribute bands, and coming up with tribute albums and books and stuff? So what about the music? Why is that? So what's your take on this one?
So it's similar to what I say. There are two bands that are my all-time favorites: the Beatles and it's Kiss, and they're kind of cross paths. You remember in the Beatles, you had four guys who could sing, four guys who could write songs, right? And I think Kiss has always been very underrated as far as their songwriting. I'm not saying they're the Beatles, but what I am saying is that, their songs were melodic and catchy. They were four individuals who contributed to the songwriting, which always makes it special. They all have their own. I mean, Ace wasn't brave enough to sing until, Shock Me on Love Gun, but we all know that he wrote Parasite, and we all know that he wrote Cold Gin, and he was actually encouraged early on to sing some of those songs. Yeah. But you have all of their individual DNA that makes their music so special. And to me, I could listen to Strutter now. I'm not talking about our version from the first album or from Alive, which to me is like some of the quintessential versions of those songs, because the production's so good on Alive and the tempos are a little faster. And it's just like hearing it from the first time again. It's just like you never get tired of it. And I think that's why these box sets that are coming out now are so special, because we're so used to hearing those particular versions. Now, when you hear a new version, you're like, oh my God, listen to his rap here. It's different from what he said there. And, and all these little special things that Kiss fans pay attention to. And they were just, in 74, 75, especially in 75, when they really hit their stride. I mean, the Winterland show, you watch that show. I mean, it's just incredible, and they were not only a great live band, but they wrote great songs. And the sounds of the different voices it's like, listen to, when you hear Ozzy Osbourne, it's Ozzy, right? There's no mistaking. We hear Tom Petty, it's Tom Petty. The same goes for Kiss. When you hear Ace, it's Ace. When you hear Peter, it's Peter. You don't even get confused. Is that Paul or is that Gene? You know who's who. Yeah. So that's what I think makes Kiss music so damn special.
And I think what makes projects like yours so damn special is that it adds to the legacy of the band. We talk about this a lot on the show. Where's the legacy of Kiss going after the end of the road? With Pop House now, and the upcoming event in Las Vegas. To me,
as was funny, Al and I are actually working on avatars. No, we're not. That's just a joke.
Please don't. Please don't. No.
Sorry,
that was great.
I had that one. I had that one brewing.
You had to say that. You had to say.
I had to say it. Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off. Yeah.
But that's just a thing, right? Avatars, to me, that's not the future of Kiss. What you guys do, what fans do, that it comes from the heart, from with passion. That's the true legacy of the band. What fans bring to the fandom, to the community of the band, and outsiders who are not fans see this and go, "Oh my God, it must be something special. Let me listen to it." So for you guys, I'll start with you, Al. How do you see Roll Over and Rock fitting into the larger legacy of Kiss?
I would love it to fit in any way of the legacy of Kiss. Just if it could just, again, we just want people to listen to it. And if, just the fact that people are listening to it, just the fact, like Claudio said, it's in his rotation. Pasky said how much you enjoyed it. That's awesome to us. That's all we ever wanted to do, was make something, with love, basically from Kiss fans to Kiss fans.
Yeah.
And, little by little, hopefully we can accomplish that. And we already have. Again, you guys heard it and liked it. That's it, man. Anyone in the world can listen to it and like it. that's right there something. I mean, as a little kid, when I was in my, in my friend's room and we're standing on chairs, making believe we're Kiss, we're making believe we're Gene and Paul, I would have never imagined to be sitting in here thinking that people throughout the country, let alone the world, are listening to us do Kiss songs. That's amazing. So I think for me, that fits into, a legacy already. It can only grow and get better from here.
Vincent, what do you think?
I mean, the thing is, the first thing I would think about when I was doing this, am I making Gene and Paul and Ace and Peter proud by doing this? Like, what would they think if they listened to it, And what I also hope, as far as the legacy of that, is passing it on to the next generation to encourage people to listen to the band and do the same and to carry on, Kiss music forever. Because we are the generation of Kiss. Yeah. But when we're gone, we're hoping that we can pass this on to our kids or to future Kiss fans, and because it deserves that. The Kiss music, it deserves to be known and to live on forever, and that's why I'm so happy and kind of sad, with the Kennedy Center honors that they're doing this year for Kiss. The fact that it would have been great to have all four guys there. And again, Mike and I have talked about losing Ace puts a lot of perspective on things, These guys are not going to be here forever. And we really want to promote the band as much so people listen now, see them now. So if you have the opportunity to go to a Vegas show or to do whatever, or Kiss convention, do it, keep this thing alive, It's like the eternal flame, that exists. You want to keep that thing going forever.
I think Kiss fans are going to keep the eternal flame going. Again, the event in Las Vegas, pretty cool. It's going to be an amazing event. But I think what Kiss fans bring to the table for me is so much more exciting.
Well, have you guys ever been on a Kiss cruise?
Of course, 4 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I did it once. And when I did that, I got it even more what it's like to be a Kiss fan.
Yeah.
Because the friendships you make, and then I would go to another show like in the city, and I would be like, oh, there's the Chemist, or oh, there's the Rock Experience with Mike Run. I'm like, what? And I'm like, it's like this special group. It's just an incredible thing to be a Kiss fan and have that camaraderie amongst your brethren. It's just this what makes this Kiss thing like nothing else. I'm sorry. There's no other band, even the Beatles. As much as I love the Beatles, there's nothing else like being a Kiss fan. There really isn't.
Agreed.
True.
But even following up on like what Vin was saying about, of course, Ace passing away, it's like a piece of your heart gets ripped out. You think, because I never really comprehended the fact that any one of them could die.
Yeah,
we talk about it all the time, me and Mike.
It's so sad, when
it still doesn't seem real.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's like a piece of your heart, a piece of your childhood, a piece of your life goes away in a sense. You know what I mean? And then to carry it forward and like piggybacking on what Vin was saying, like I've got friends who I've been in bands with and otherwise that do not like Kiss, but they don't even. I think it's so they prejudge. They see the makeup, they see the show. I don't want to deal with that. And I was playing it for a couple of my friends, and they were like, "Those are Kiss songs?" I was like, "Yeah, they're Kiss songs. They're really good." I was like, "No shit, they're really good. They're great songs, man.
Yeah,
I mean, these are good songs.
Happened all my
Don't
life.
discount this. Listen to this.
Yeah,
give it a chance because these are good, solid, hooky rock songs."
Yeah,
and if we can now maybe you don't see the makeup or whatever, and somebody gives it a listen that normally wouldn't. That does help with the Kiss legacy, like you were asking. Pat.
Absolutely, good point.
Absolutely. One of the things that happened to me when I was listening to the album so many times, given the recent event with Ace, I'm so happy, and now I think it has even more value. The fact that you guys put "Save Your Love" there, because it's a true Ace Frehley song. If you had put "Shock Me," that's an easy one. But putting "Save Your Love" there, that's so special. And to me, when I was listening to it and I listened to the solo, that's why I wanted to mention that on the episode. It brought back so many memories, you know, to me, like listening to Dynasty for the first time. The solo, you know, pays tribute, you know, in a huge way, you know, to our dear spaceman, you know. It's true. It's true.
And just a little known trivia: the first song that I ever performed live was "Rip It Out." I played drums and sang it. So, and this weekend with Kiss Unmasked, it's the Kiss tribute band I'm in. That's the first song we're playing. We're doing like 4 Ace songs in a row to you know, give Ace a tribute. And I asked the singer, I said, "Can I?" Because he normally does the Paul stuff and he does the Ace. I said, "Do you mind if I do it?" And he said, "No, you can do it." And so I kind of get, you know, of course, as I get older, I get you know, very emotional about these things. But that's how you really know what's here, you know.
Of course.
So
that, as you said before, you know, it's in our DNA. And let's wrap it up, guys, in a high note. This has been an amazing episode, an amazing freaking episode. You know, I couldn't believe,
thank you,
you know, that we were going to have the chance to talk to you guys and promote your work. You know, everybody who's out there, you know, give it a listen, or 2 or 3 or more, because this is truly fantastic. You know, Vincent, Al, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you
for being on the show. This has been an awesome hour. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh, it's our absolute pleasure to do that, to promote something so amazing. And again, coming from the fans, coming from the heart, from the passion of the fans, you could do no wrong. This was just, like Claudio said, such a fun and amazing episode. A pleasure to meet you guys. And now I got the faces to go with the songs. It'll be an even better experience. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
To the Kiss Army, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please send them to talktome@kissarmynationpodcast.com. Till the next time, remember, never stop rocking. Take care, everyone.